Hi, kids. Welcome to our new lesson for this new school year. And we're going to have our lesson in Science 5. And we are at quarter 1, week 1. And we're going to talk about matter in daily life and matter in its three states. Okay, so we have here the list of contents. We have the learning objectives, we have the icebreaker, and then we have the describing the three states of matter. Okay, so for our learning objective, we have the content standard. So scientists identify three states of matter based on shape and volume. Temperature can cause changes on matter, and plan simple scientific investigations requires. All right. Okay, so for day one, let's have a short review. And our teacher or your teacher will prepare a mystery box. So, what's inside the mystery box? Okay, so the teacher prepares a mystery box containing different materials which the learners will identify, like toy, paper, small inflated balloons, stone, and other common materials. Okay, and they are going to answer this question. So, what are the things that you got from the box? Where do you see these things? Do you see this around you, inside your home, in the streets, inside the classroom, in your bedroom, in the kitchen? Okay, and what other term can use to name these things? Are these materials useful for you? How? Okay, so those are the things that you're going to answer while picking up something from the mystery box from your teacher. Okay, so in the succeeding weeks, we will be doing activities which will help us understand more about the things around us. Through these activities, we will conquer the world of matter, their three phases, their characteristics, and where we can find them. Okay, so as we go on, okay, so let's unlock first some content vocabulary. So these are the words that we're going to encounter as we start our lesson or as we go along with our lesson. So for you to understand our topics better, try to familiarize yourselves with these terms by arranging the jumbled letters to come up with the correct term being described. And later on, we're going to further discuss these terms. So number one, anything that occupies space and has mass or has weight. So we call that matter. So has closely packed molecules which limit movement and has definite shape. So of course we call that solid or are solids. Has loosely packed molecules permitting them to have some movement, thus has no definite shape. So we call that liquid. Number four, has molecules far from each other, thus has maximum freedom to move around. So we call that gas. And lastly, the amount of space occupied by an object or substance, we call that volume. All right, so are you ready and are you set for another learning for this week? So let's start our day 2. So for day 2, we're going to have our worked example and you're going to have your gallery walk inside your classroom. So knowing matter more. So your teacher will have 4 stations in their classroom where you can read and observe different characteristics or concepts about the matter. The stations can be 3D with the use of different relevant materials depending on the topic of the station, or just printed and pasted on the wall. The materials needed for the task for each station, if needed, must be there for easier demonstration. So the station must be full of definitions, examples, and real-life application of the topic written. Alright, so we have here our worked example, or the gallery walk, and knowing matter more. So what can we expect with the 4 stations that our teacher will prepare for us? So for station 1, matter takes space. And for station 2, matter has mass. Station 3, matter has shape and color. And station 4, matter has texture. So we can have that gallery walk in this video presentation, but we're going to discuss. I'm going to give you some examples for each station. Okay, so let's start with matter takes up space. So what does it mean? Anything that is matter needs space. It fills a certain amount of area even if you can't see it. So examples. A chair takes a space on the floor. Water fills up a glass. Air fills a balloon. Even invisible gases like air take up space. That's why a balloon expands when you blow into it. So, pag tayo ay nagbo-blow ng balloon, nag-iihip tayo ng balloon, syempre nag-expand yung balloon. At ano ba yung iniihip natin? So, gas. Although hindi natin nakikita yung gas, alam natin na nafe-fill in niya yung balloon kasi nag-expand, lumalaki. Nafe-fill in ng gas yung or yung air no coming from our breath, nafe-fill in niya yung loob ng balloon kaya nag-expand yung balloon at lumalaki. So kahit hindi natin nakikita yung mga gas, so gaya ng hangin, no, it still take up space. So that's one example when we say matter takes up space. So water fills up glass, 'di ba? Kapag nagbubuhos tayo ng tubig sa isang baso, kung anong shape ng container na pinaglalagyan natin ng tubig, so ganun niya na kumbaga ganun din yung shape na nafe-fill in ng water na nilalagay natin. Okay, so for the next station, matter has mass. So what does it mean? Matter is not weightless. It has mass, which means it feels heavy or light. Mass is the amount of stuff inside an object. Okay, so we have here some examples. A bag of rice has mass. If it's full, it's heavy. A pencil has less mass than a textbook. So meaning to say, mas magaan yung bigat ng lapis kaysa sa libro. And a basketball is lighter than a bowling ball. So, mas magaan yung basketball or yung bola ng basketball than a bowling ball. So, mabigat yung bowling ball, no? So, you can measure a mass by using weighing scale. So, kapag gumamit tayo ng timbangan, malalaman natin yung mass nung isang bagay. Okay, so for the next station, matter has shape and color. So what does it mean? Solids have their own shape. Liquids take the shape of the container and gases spread out. So most matter also has color that we can see. Okay, so for example, a red apple, a solid one, has a round shape and red color. So nadi-describe natin yung apple based on its shape and its color. Orange juice, okay, it's a liquid, takes the shape of the glass and is orange. A blue plastic block has a square shape and blue color. Colors and shapes help us identify different types of matter. Okay, so for the last station, we have matter has texture. So what does it mean? Texture is how something feels when you touch it. It can be smooth, rough, soft, or hard. Okay, so may I just add in, for those kids, so since I have a toddler, para maging familiar sila sa texture ng mga bagay-bagay. So we have this kind of book na yung tinatawag nilang That's Not My. It's a collection of a lot of books wherein nafe-feel nila. Parang touch and feel book siya wherein na nafe-feel nila kung smooth or rough, soft or hard yung isang bagay. So nararamdaman talaga nila. So that's what texture is. Okay? So something that feels when you touch a certain thing or a certain, for example, that book, no? Pag tinouch mo, for example, yung tail ng horse. Okay, so minsan feathery, may texture talaga yung book. That's why it's really good. It's a really good book, especially for growing up kids or for toddlers. Okay, so going back with our lesson, example, a sponge feels soft and squishy. A rock feels rough and hard. A piece of silk cloth feels smooth. A wooden desk feels smooth but solid. So touching objects helps us learn about their texture. So saka mo malalaman yung texture ng isang bagay kapag hinawakan mo ito. So saka mo malalaman kung smooth ba, magaspang ba, mabuhangin ba, rough ba yung surface niya, o madulas ba. Okay, so those are the texture of an object. Okay. So we have here some guide questions. So what are the characteristics of matter? So based on our explanation, so can you give the characteristics of matter? So don't worry, we're going to discuss this as we go along with our lesson. So explain each characteristic of matter and give other examples showing and explaining each characteristics. Okay, so for day 3, okay, let's have more examples. So this is from the lesson itself. Okay, so it's for day 3. So we have an interactive discussion to reinforce the concepts observed in different activities. So okay, let's go back with station 1. Okay, you can just simply read this one, but it's in question and answer. Okay, so we have the first station, for example, that we have pebbles, cup, and water. When an empty cup was filled with pebbles, what happened to the space in the cup? So the space in the cup was taken up already by the pebbles. So can you add more pebbles into the cup after filling it up? Its brim, and why? So no, because there is no more space for the additional pebbles. No pebble can take the space occupied already by the other pebbles. So it's like kapag puno na, hindi na talaga kasya. So hindi na pwedeng ipagpilitan pa yung pebble kasi na-take up na ng iba pang pebble yung space doon sa inyong cup or container. Okay, so when you filled the empty cup half filled with water, what happened to the space in the cup? So the space in the cup was taken up by the water. When you kept on pouring water into the cup, what happened to the water and why? So when we kept pouring water into the cup, the water spilled. So ibig sabihin, kapag patuloy mong nilalagyan ng tubig yung baso, no? Yung kanina kasi half filled lang, kalahati. So ibig sabihin, nakuha na niya yung kalahati ng space ng baso. But if patuloy mong bubuksusan o lalagyan ng tubig, yung baso, kahit na puno na, so anong mangyayari sa tubig? So aapaw ito kasi wala ng space para sa tubig na yun kasi puno na yung baso. No? Pinagsisiksikan pa rin talaga yung kanyang sarili doon. Anyway, so okay, so sabi dito, when you kept on pouring water into the cup, what happened to the water and why? When we kept pouring water into the cup, the water spilled. This happened because the space up to the brim of the cup was taken up already by water. No water can take up the same space at the same time. What can you say then about space occupied by matter? Matter occupies space. Once space is taken up by matter, nothing else can take up the same space at the same time. Ayan, napakalinaw. Alright? So, kapag nakuha na yung space na yon, hindi na pwede pang magdagdag pa ng iba. Alright? So, one space at hindi pwede yung same space at the same time. Okay? So, wag na tayo magdagdag at baka kung saan pa mapunta ang ating lesson. Alright, so for station 2, matter has mass. So for this station, yung materials that we have is pebbles and weighing scale. So what did you observe when you placed the pebbles or other materials at one end of the weighing scale? The end where the pebbles were placed went down. Okay, what characteristics of matter is shown in this activity? Matter has mass. In here, so the teacher may elaborate more of the definition of mass. Okay, so we already discussed this a while ago. Okay, so let's have station 3. Matter has shape and color. So, okay, so we have here some examples and you can answer this one already. Okay, and we already gave an example for this a while ago. Okay, so of course, your answers will vary depending on what materials okay, is being shown to you by the teacher. So what are the materials that you saw on the table? So name the shapes of the materials. How about the colors? So for example, if it is a piece of paper, it's rectangular and white. Okay, if the teacher gave you a ball, it's circular and orange and others. Okay, so based on this activity, what can you say about matter? So matter has shape and color. Okay, and for the last station, matter has texture. Okay, so materials for this station, we have, for example, piece of sandpaper, yung liha, piece of floor tile, if may available kayong tile, and we also have mirror. What are the materials you found on the table? So we have a piece of sandpaper, piece of floor tile, and mirror. What can you say about the surface of the sandpaper? So of course, rough yung surface nun. Yung floor tile, okay, smooth din, no, yung surface ng floor tile. While on the, kapag binaligtad mo siya, iba na yung texture niya, rough na, depende doon sa klase ng tile na mayroon kayo. But for the mirror, so syempre smooth ang surface niya. So based on the activity, what can you say about matter? So matter has texture. Alright, so this one is for day 4. So for day 4, we have here some set of activities for you. Okay, the 3 phases of matter. We have the solid, liquid, and gas. So we have here video that you can watch in YouTube. Okay, it's solid, liquid, gas song, and while listening to it, you can list down the words repeatedly mentioned in the song and example of materials given in the video for each repeated word. Okay, so another activity, what are the 3 phases of matter? So we all know we have the solid, liquid, and gas. Describe each phases of matter based on their molecular arrangement. Okay, give an example of materials for each phase of matter. So, okay, so you can answer that one, okay, if you already watched the video, but then you can go back naman anytime kapag hindi pa, because this time we're going to describe the 3 states of matter, and you can just listen first and then afterwards you go back with this activity and then try to answer. Okay, so let's start off by describing the 3 states of matter. So let's start with solid. Solid, the molecules are closely packed to each other, thus they can hardly move. So dikit-dikit talaga sila. The attraction between molecules is very strong and there is little to no free space for each molecule, making them rigid and keeping their shape. So talagang based on the picture, talagang very closely packed sila. Dikit-dikit talaga. So little to no space available para sila ay makagalaw. Alright, so that is solid. Next, we have liquid. The molecules are loosely packed. Movement of molecules is possible because there is considerable space in between molecules, which allow them to slide past one another or flow. They don't have shape of their own, thus taking the shape of their container. Okay, and lastly, we have the gas. The molecules are separated from each other by wide spaces. It has the least attraction between molecules, permitting them to have maximum freedom of motion. Because of the nature of its molecules, gas has no definite shape and volume. Like liquid, gas takes the shape of its container, but only gas has indefinite volume and fills the volume of its container. Alright, so for your takeaways, okay, fill out each box in the chart below with at least 3 words to summarize the concepts gained from the different activities. So you can always go back with the slide and try to fill out each box. So to complete yung ating graphic organized. So what is matter? How do we define matter? What are the phases of matter? And what is the molecular arrangement? So we have the closely packed, no, for solid. So yung liquid, medyo may space sila, no, nagfo-flow, pwede silang magbanggaan. The thing is, hindi sila talagang dikit-dikit, no, they can freely move. But yung gas, so talagang ito yung may freedom talaga of space. Kasi, kumbaga, napakalawak ng pwede nilang, kumbaga, they are very free. Ganun ka lawak kasi nga, parang kumbaga, ang tawag dito, paikot-ikot lang sila, no? Unlike the solid na talagang dikit-dikit yung kanilang molecules. Okay, so we're also going to give some examples of matter. Okay, and some examples of the three phases of matter. Okay, so for the formative assessment, draw the molecules of the three states of matter. So inside those box. And lastly, for your formative assessment, we have here, okay, I think it's 5-item question. So read the questions carefully and choose the letter of the correct answer. Okay, so you can read them silently and answer. Okay, and that ends our lesson for this week. So I hope you gained something, although it's more of a review about matter and the three states of matter. So, but then I hope you gained something new from our lesson for this week. So, thank you for being with me for the past 20 minutes, and I hope you're going to be with me again with our next lesson. So, this is Teacher Isa. Thank you, and bye.